Hello everyone, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues episode number 49. Today we will be dialoguing with Robert Parmakovsky out of Melbourne, Australia. And I have to have him clear up for me if there's a difference between Okami Academy and RPI Academy. So everybody sit back, relax, and enjoy episode number 49 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with Robert Parmakovsky.
It'll just be the two of us, but you know, your fans will get to it. Okay, so we're good to go?
Yeah. We're good to go, man.
Yeah, I'll just edit out all this crap from before. We'll have a good right? Okay, so I'll do that off camera too. We'll just start. So, okay, here's what you got to do for me. Clear up for me Okami Academy and RPI Academy. Same thing, different things. What is all that?
Oh, a lot of history there.
Okay.
A lot of history there. Okay, man. Okami's my nickname.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Okami in Japanese means wolf.
I get it.
Yeah. And for years I've been treating my academy that way, like a wolf pack.
Got it.
So the RPI, that goes way back. I mean, that was a personal thing. It was Robert Parmakovsky International. It's when I went international with seminars in Europe. So we decided to change it from the Jeet Kune Do Academy and go personal, because you know how it is in the Jeet Kune Do world. You know, people use and abuse the name.
Right. Yeah.
So we went RPI when I went international, and it stuck for a while. I opened up a few schools in Europe, and you know what happens in Europe. It's a tough crowd, use and abuse, and when people make a lot of money, it sort of just takes the passion out of teaching.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you do your TV appearances, and you do your demos, you do your seminars for 8 hours, and you do that for 3 months. And you do that every year in Europe, you sort of get well known up there, and then the name gets abused, you know, the Robert Parmakovsky name gets abused. So I thought I had enough. I closed all the schools down, and I sort of had a bad taste to it, and I thought I'd go nickname wise. This way it's got a Japanese feel, and it's sort of more, it calms the waters, and I'm not attached to it too much.
Yeah.
So I've made it more simpler.
Okay, but you have a Japanese background because you're third dan, you're sandan in Shotokan, aren't you?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's go all the way back to martial art beginning. My research says 1979 Shotokan.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Australia?
In Australia, yes.
Okay.
1979.
So that, and under
Kanazawa, yes.
Okay.
It was that was the association, Kanazawa, yes.
Right. Okay. Where does he fall in the Shotokan lineage and hierarchy?
With the founder of karate, Gichin Funakoshi.
Okay.
He's right underneath it with Nakayama.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Right? So tell me if anything about Shotokan plays a role 40 years later in 2019 in what you're doing.
I think Shotokan has a good background for fundamentals. Yeah. I think it teaches you base. It teaches you, to extend the body a little more, and I mean, if it wasn't for Shotokan, I wouldn't be with the Machidas at the moment. So, I mean, I represent Lyoto and Shinzo Machida.
Right.
So it was a compliment to actually,
yes,
for them to ask me to represent them in Australia, Melbourne. So, look, I believe even Bruce Lee had a little bit of a say in Shotokan in some of his writings. He says it's a good system for base.
You know what aspect of Shotokan I think everybody in JKD could benefit from?
Tell me.
Dojo-kun.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
man. It's the etiquette.
yes. Seek perfection of character.
Yeah.
Be
Hitotsu
faithful.
jinkaku kansai ni sutomoru koto.
Right? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Right? Endeavor, be faithful, seek perfection of character. You cannot go wrong with that
Correct.
type of a mindset.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man, that was ingrained in us as kids. You know, we had to say it in Japanese. You know,
Mhm.
like I said, hitotsu jinkaku kansai ni sutomoru koto. You
Yeah.
know, one to strive, for
Yeah.
perfection in character.
Right.
Yeah, look, I still bring that into the academy, not as traditionally as Japanese, but the etiquette, I'm pretty strict on it. That's how I grew up, and I think Bruce was like that too. So I think you need to keep that respect in class and how you behave.
Right. Yeah. Well, otherwise it devolves into something that's not martial art.
Well, correct. I mean, we're there to become better human beings and, reach our goals and the journey we're at. I mean, fighting is easy. I tell my students, fighting is easy. I could teach you that. It's not rocket science.
Mm-hmm.
But becoming a better human being,
Mm-hmm.
that's the tough one. This is the platform we're using to try to, better ourselves as humans, give back, work on our character traits. I mean, that's important.
Yeah. I noticed a section on your on the website that talked about your dedication to combative and competitive arts, and it's evident
Yes.
by belief in constant training of the basics. So that's and attention to detail. So that's why I asked you about the Shotokan influence.
Yeah, well, the repping,
Mhm.
doing 1,000 meigiri, to perfect one kick, which you're going to perform consistently. There's not going to be any internal dialogue. It's just going to be a visceral response.
Right.
Yeah, that I believe the Japanese side of things really gave me the etiquette to be able to, rep, like Bruce says, 10,000 reps. He doesn't fear the person that knows 10,000 techniques, but the person that actually does one technique 10,000 times.
Yeah.
That's traditional mindset,
Well, wasn't there summer training for Shotokan where the goal was to hold Kibadachi until you collapsed?
Yeah, or eat a bowl of rice while you're doing kibadachi.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we strengthen the legs. I still do it to students. I said, give me a horse stance and sit there for a little bit. It's like a squat. So, I mean, if you want to get good legs.
Yeah.
Because when you box, it's sort of higher up, so it's easier if you do a system that has that dedication to the low stance and you have to sit there, even while the teacher is talking, you sit there and you endure that pain.
Yeah.
When you do boxing, when I ventured into boxing, I went, oh, this is cool. I don't have to do Zenbutsudachi anymore. And then it got even better when I did Thai boxing. I went, wow, we're even higher now. So I went, oh, well, thank God for Shotokan, So
I gotta tell you though. I mean, I remember when we used to laugh at the karate people who had short, long gi pants, and now you guys are taking it all the way up to the knee. What is up with that skirt?
Well, the history is told that Gichin Funakoshi came from Okinawa.
Right.
So I think it's hotter up there.
Ah. Yeah.
So the dress code, I believe, was probably a little different.
Yeah.
And but it suits us. I mean, you put the shin pads on, you put the gloves on. It's like MMA. It's
Exactly.
easy.
Yeah.
Whereas when we used to do karate with the long pants, you put the shin pads on. You have to pull up those pants. You got to put them underneath.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it was a bit of a hassle. So I think Machida's trying to keep that traditional thing happening, which is pretty cool. I really enjoy it because I use the pants for the kids. They put a t-shirt on, they do their JKD, and that those pants ain't gonna rip when you grapple.
Right. Yeah. So you mentioned when you went to boxing. So the boxing came after Shotokan?
Yeah, it was sort of, back in the day, you're sort of hard to cross-train. You're loyal to your teacher, and, he'll know what you're doing if you're cross-training. So in my time, it was a little difficult to cross-train, so you had to, and there was not one spot like there is now for MMA. You could do everything. Mm-hmm. So I did a little bit of boxing. I wanted the full contact because I was venturing into the full contact kickboxing, which is full contact karate back in the day.
Yeah.
So I did boxing on the side and liked it. Headgear, mouth guard, less kicks, get in there a little bit. So I was involved in that sort of still while I was doing competitions in karate and so forth. And then I took it a little seriously down the track.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what led you then to the Jeet Kune Do?
Wow. First of all of us know this story. All of us on these interviews say, they're Bruce Lee fans. So we were all Bruce Lee fans, I mean, my first Bruce Lee movie wasn't a TTK tape. It was just the audio. I didn't get to see the video. We didn't have a video at the time, and a friend of mine taped it. And I knew all the movies by voice, but not by not by visual. It was really funny. And I was but I was a big more or less at about 15, 16. I remember there were a few articles on JPD, and really it was really Paul Vunak that actually gave me that. Mm-hmm. I thought, this guy's telling it how it is. The fights are. That's how I felt. That emotional feel. Mm-hmm. In an altercation. I got picked on. Of course, I was bullied. I wore glasses all my life, so all the fights were from the glasses. Sitting on the front row, can't see anything.
Right. Wow.
So. The JKD was always there, and then I ventured into doing it full time. Quit my job. That's down the track.
The boxing. You and I talked about this before. There's a relationship between you and the boxing and your dad, right?
Well, my dad was one of those guys that they used to say in Europe that he would just just smack people and he had a good boxing sort of feel. But I don't know how much boxing he did, but he could punch, I guess.
Yeah. And that's your Macedonian roots?
Yeah, the Macedonian root, man. The thing is, I talk about the karate days when my sensei used to hit us with the shinai. Yeah? Okay. Well, I never cried. All the kids did. I loved it. It was like, this is it. This is as painful as it gets.
Yeah.
And they used to say to me, why aren't you crying? I said, come to my house. Yeah. Come to my home. That's what you should be worried about, not karate. Because if I was in a fight as a kid, even as a teenager, I'd be afraid to go home, even though if I won the fight. Because my father would go, what'd you do? You had a fight? Come over here, Yeah. So, the toughness came from my dad.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about Macedonia, because when I started researching you, the thing that came to mind immediately was Manchevsky's film Before the Rain.
Yes.
And that was 1994. That's all I know about Macedonia.
Okay, well we're going to get controversial here, but look behind me. You see this here?
Okay. Yeah.
That's a shield that Alexander the Great used to use. That's the shield there. That's our flag. That's the sun.
Okay.
Macedonia goes way back, man. We're talking biblical days, even further.
Yeah.
King Philip, of course, the father of Alexander the Great.
Okay.
And goes further back and so forth. But the country's been through war and through this ancient war and ancient domination and so forth. It's in the middle right now, and it's being picked apart by a lot of the countries that surround it. It's like a mid section where you get this traffic, so everyone wants to pull it apart, and it is going through hell at the moment.
Yeah.
Identity changes and so forth. It is going through a little bit of strife. It's unfortunate, but yeah, we're taught to keep our identity. And I mean, I've done a DNA check, man, and I come from the Balkans. I come from that European cluster, and it's 95%.
Yeah.
You know, my bloodline is, you know, Alexander the Great. You know, my dad used to say to me, "You're born in the wrong era, mate. You should have been born back then with all of the Filipino training you like, with the swords and the knives." Yeah.
That I've always found that kind of funny, that a lot of us get into the Filipino weapons training, and then we find out that our culture had its own weapons training.
Yeah.
And
I believe every nationality, everyone that went to war, of course, weapons, you know, and the music behind it, you know, the tempo behind it. That's why I think Filipinos just do it right on, and their culture is, you know, right on with the rhythmic and the bongos, and it keeps tempo while you're sparring and you're using your mechanics. I think. Even Daniel Asano, Guru Dan, once when he was at my academy, we sat down and talked about Alexander the Great, and he's a history buff, of course. You know?
Yeah,
he knows his history really well.
Yeah,
yeah. You know, you've been under him for like so many years.
Yeah.
He said to me, I think he said Alexander the Great had some Persian bodyguards.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
And I could imagine how it was in the time. You know, learning how to use your stick and dagger and sword and shield, and it would have been fascinating. I don't think it's changed much, Matt. You know, 2 hands and 2 feet. I mean, there's only a couple of ways you could do things, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. So on your one of your Facebook pages,
it's the personal page, which is my name. Yeah, I've got the Okami Academy, which is the Bruce Lee MMA.
Right.
And then I've got Machida Karate separately, just so I can feed off the tradition there.
It was all over.
Yeah.
I took photographs from all over the place to do the ad. But
yeah,
I saw a picture of 2 young women, and they have the same VSKI in their last name. The 2 Janevsky girls.
Yeah. Well, anytime you see SKI, you know, for masculine it's SKI, for female it's SKA.
Okay. But
they can do both. I mean, they hold their dad's name, of course. But yeah, that's Macedonian, SKI.
Okay. So is there?
We don't like. It's not that we like to ski. It's just SKI.
No. Well, but okay. No, but what I wanted to know about that was, is there a Macedonian population in Melbourne?
Oh yes. Yeah.
When? How come?
Yeah. Well, I think in the 60s, everyone sort of, you know, I guess wanted a better life and make some money and probably go back. That was my dad's idea. Yeah. He had 2 choices: either go to Canada or Australia. I said to him,
how come those 2?
I don't know. I think that's where the boats were going. The 3-month trip, man, you choose. Hey, I said to him, why did you choose Canada, man? I would have had a JKD school in Canada.
Yeah.
And he goes, nah.
Yeah.
He took Australia for 3 months on a boat, and he was here in 1968. I think everyone was thinking to go back, but some didn't.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's similar to what we have here in Miami with you know, historically with the Cubans, and then more recently probably with the Venezuelans or what have you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're up to boxing and JKD. So Vunak was your entry into JKD. That was your entry into JKD.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, I did Wing Chun a little bit. I did Filipino Kali at the time. I thought I was an expert in Sinawali because I knew Heaven 6, Standard 6, and Earth 6.
Okay.
until I met Vudak, and he showed me these 64 variables going into 128 variables. Then you got your 512. And so I wasn't an expert. I was just like, one drill, brother. That's all you know.
Right. Yeah, but you knew the three important ones, so that's okay.
The three important ones, you know. I do the Lunka Lima, forward, back, side to side, back, and that's it.
Yeah.
A little bit of Hubbard and some Paksau, Lapsau, and a lot of sparring. I was like a sparring guy, so. But I didn't visit Vu and have nothing. I had my fundamentals, you know. I just it was time to test myself and move on.
So you went out to LA. He didn't come to Australia.
No, he's never been to Australia. I took off 99 and I booked in privately 8 hours a day for 3 months.
What?
Yeah. I spent all my money.
Okay. All right. Okay. So explain that, because here was the other thing I read. In 99, you left a career in architecture and engineering to do martial art full time.
Well, yeah, look, 96 was when I was sort of transitioning into the full time. I was still doing, I was taking work home as a civil engineer and an architectural draftsman, architectural designer as well. And fizzled out slowly and had 3 schools, closed them all down and opened up in the garage.
Really?
As we all do, right?
Well, yeah, a lot of us start right there. That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
I haven't left. I'm still there. But yeah, and you know, I at the time I think Vu was actually coming up with his own website, and I think he was just getting off that military stuff, and he was trying to get back into his seminar scene, and I just kept hacking on him, emails. Everyone thought I was crazy. It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But I was a big fan, man, since I was 15. So I had articles, and I could have chosen anybody. I could have chosen Larry Hartzell, Guru Daniel Lasano, but I just liked what he stood for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, as we all have, you know, the concepts and philosophies, and I'll track back and reverse engineer the learning from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Paul was quite prolific in the, you know, towards the end of the 80s into the 90s. So, I mean, he really did a lot to put the JKD and the Kali on the world map of the
Correct.
market, you know, and get it into the military and what have you, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So then on the list of teachers,
yes,
it lists also Professor Roy Harris.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So
big influence there.
Yeah. So okay. So when and how did that come about?
Well, at the time when I started with Vu, Roy Harris, I believe, was the CEO of Progressive Fighting System.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, he was the CEO and I guess the head guy for Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So, yeah, he was. He was really. Well, of course, close. He was a Progressive Fighting Systems guy, and started off with. Roy Harris, Sifu Roy Harris goes back with Rick Fay and Greg Nelson, and back in Minnesota.
Yeah, that I know, but I didn't make the PFS connection.
Yeah, he was the CEO. He was part of PFS for a little while, and when I met Vu, and the year after that, I went again for 3 months. Wow. So 6 months in total. 6 months in total privately with Super Paul, and you know, I met James Wilkes and Ryan Clark, and you know, all you know, some great guys, and we taught for Super Paul a little bit. You know, that's where we got our. You know, we taught different people from different walks of life, like some military, some police officers, and so forth. So it helped us, you know, break into that a little bit. But in 2000, Super Paul said to me, "You should get some training with, you know, Professor Harris." on your off days. And that's how I met Sifu Harris.
Okay. And he's out of San Diego.
Yes.
Ordinarily, right? Okay.
Yeah.
You've been there to train with him also?
I visited there in 2000, but then I had him down, I believe, in 2004.
Okay.
I got my apprenticeship under him in Jiu-Jitsu no-gi.
Right.
He said it was the fastest guy that ever reached the apprenticeship level.
Really?
In 1 week. Yeah, that's what he said. I'm quoting him. But I mean, Sifu Paul started off me with the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu stuff. So my journey of Jiu-Jitsu started in '99.
Okay. When did Sifu Nasano come to Australia?
In Australia or at my academy?
Okay.
Because he's been coming to Australia, I think, since the '80s.
Yeah. Okay. But so he came to your school.
Yeah, that was a tough gig to get.
Ah, that's a sweet gig, though.
That was a sweet gig, man. That was look, I followed him. I went to his academy back in 2000 and did some lessons up there. And he was conducting. It was a great session. I did a Thai boxing session, and you know who we had in that session? Nakamura. We had the Rick Young. It was just 8 of us.
Whoa.
Yeah, I reckon my kidneys fell off. I was with James Wilkes and Guru Dan put these bungee ropes on. I think Eric Paulson designed them at the time, and we were doing Thai boxing with bungees.
Yeah,
man, you know when.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when Guru Dan walks around, James was saying, hit harder now. I reckon I duked myself out in the first 10 minutes, and there's still another hour to go.
Yeah.
But well, I forget the question or where I was going with it.
So you were at the Inosanto Academy, and then was he on tour in Australia and made a stop?
He was on tour for a while. We always visited Guru Dan, and supported him.
Yeah.
And at one stage I said, I actually approached him myself. I said, when can you come down and bless my academy? It'd be an honor.
Yeah.
I said, whatever it costs, we'll put it together. He actually said to me, as he is, he's a nice guy. He says, no money, I'll come to you. I'll come down. I'd love to come down and so forth. And then I think the next year, we wrote letters to his wife and his entourage and got it together. And it cost us a fair bit, but we put it all together. We raised the money.
Nice.
And it was just in-house, and I asked for the subjects what I wanted to see, and of course we wanted to see some of that brutal trapping and blast, headbutts, knees and elbows. I wanted to see where my instructors got their stuff, and we wanted to see Dan do it, because Dan will just go off on a tangent, right? He'll just show you everything.
Yeah.
So he came down for 3 hours, but he stayed for 5. We had lunch and everything and conversations, and it was great.
Yep, that's typical Inosanto right there.
Yeah. He mentioned to the entourage, I must say, 3 hours went up, and they said it's time to go. And Guru looks at all of us and says, "There's no time in this place." He said to me, "You know what? You should stay in the garage like this. It doesn't look like a garage, but you should stay." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "I miss my garage. This is where you bring up champions. This is the raw, So it was a good thing."
So you said that earlier, and I just clicked on what you said. So the pictures that I see online today, that's still in your garage?
That's still in my garage, yes.
That's not a garage, boy.
No, man, that doesn't look like a garage. We've designed it really well. I mean, it's got dressing rooms. It's got a front area with, coffee and for the parents to sit down and wait for their kids. It's a zebra mat matted at the rear, and toilets and So it's gone through a transition over the last
Sounds like a
20 years.
sounds like a background in architecture and engineering.
Well, you know, Dwight, I've moved from there once. I opened up a massive club with a UFC cage and Fairtex bags, and we're talking, you know, a massive area to host 100 people at once.
Yeah.
It didn't go well, man, partnership-wise, and the passion. It's hard to look at people as a number. You know, I'm a passionate martial artist. Money and passion don't mix very well when you confuse them.
It's a tough code to crack. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're always going to be in search of it. You know,
Correct.
I find some comfort in knowing that Bruce Lee was not averse to the idea of making money through your martial art, but he was insistent on it being valuable.
Correct.
Whatever it is that you put
Correct.
out there has to be of high value. So I think as long as we can maintain the integrity in what it is that we're offering, then by all means, we should go ahead and make a good living from it. Right?
Absolutely.
The term Bruce Lee's MMA, is that a takeoff on Dana White's, Bruce Lee is the father of MMA?
Well, we've always thought that Bruce was the founder of mixed martial arts and being well-rounded, I guess. I mean, we all knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think the young generation understands what Bruce Lee has given us.
Yeah.
The Jun Fan alone has, you know, a CrossFit style concept as it is, and I don't think people give enough credit to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so this is why the concept competitive and combative, you got to do both.
Right.
If you just do combative, which is the Bruce Lee MMA combativeness, which is the street material, which is still MMA, but it's a combative MMA.
Uh-huh.
If you just do that, I mean, you can't headbutt and elbow your students all day. You're going to lose a lot of people, right? So you've got to find, you got to know how to train the combativeness, you know. And then you have the attributes that facilitates combativeness, and that's the competitive side. So we're not putting down, you know, MMA competitiveness and MMA combativeness.
Yeah.
They're a marriage. They have to go together. They all serve each other in the right direction.
Yeah. Burt Richardson once said that Sifu Dan made a comment that in JKD, we have to be informed by what the combat sport is doing, by what the competitors are doing.
Correct.
You know, we cannot.
Correct.
Yeah, we cannot disregard it completely. We have to be informed by it. But also on the website, in the breakdown, you said while there are others who deserve to be in that conversation, right? The conversation about Bruce Lee as the father of MMA. There's no question that Lee's impact upon the sport is still being felt. So name some people that should be in that conversation.
Promoting Bruce Lee MMA?
No, when you said, I don't have the full quote here, but it's from your website, and it's talking about Bruce Lee as the father of MMA. But you said that there are other people who deserve to be in that conversation. So I guess you're talking about others who contribute to the idea of MMA.
Absolutely. I mean, you've already done interviews with them. Greg Nelson, Eric Paulson, Rick Fay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had Eric Paulson down at my gym, and you know, I was part of the association at one stage.
Okay.
With the CSW.
Yeah.
I mean, I have his whole curriculum. I mean, it's fantastic. But you'd be stunned how much of it is Jun Fan.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not a hidden thing. I mean, he's very proud of that too. I mean, he calls it the STX, the the Savat Thai cross training. I mean, there's influence there of what Bruce put down, and of course we've moved on and added and so forth. But I mean, look at all the UFC guys. I mean, they're doing JKD in their, let's call it JKD concepts. They're taking some influence out of the G Tech and the distractions right now, and certain elbows, and so yeah, there's a lot of people, but I mean, you got Vunak, you got Roy Harris, you got Eric Paulson, you got Greg Nelson, Rick Fay, you got all these. I believe everybody that streams through the JKD has something to offer for in that conversation.
Yeah.
Even Richardson. I mean, me and him were partnered up at the Machida seminar together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was funny. He came in. It was the first time we met, but we knew each other for so long on social media.
Okay.
And he walked in, and of course, I'm an instructor at the Machida Academy. I was there, and he walked in, and he goes, Robert, we met, and he said to me, can you be my partner tonight? I don't have any gloves. I just did a seminar at Dan in the Sanos. I said, no problem. I'll show you around, and introduced him to Sensei Lyoto and Sensei Chinzo, and we partnered up and we connected everything to Kali. I mean, I tell people, once you learn Filipino Kali and you learn that kamut lihok means motion, you're going to know every system.
Yeah. Remember, you're not supposed to say that, right, in the JKD.
I know. Yeah. I mean, I was at the Machidas and I'm doing karate and we're in the gi and stuff, and he's on his shorts and t-shirt, and we were relating everything to Filipino.
Yeah.
And we named him too.
Yeah. Hey, I did something similar in trying to remember Ajahn Chai's defenses against the clinch in Muay Thai. I named him off Wing Chun. All his hand motions, right? I gave him Wing Chun names, and it made it easier to remember. Because he doesn't have a name for it.
No, I don't think Thailand has names for anything. I think they put you in the ring and learn as you go.
Right? So I just named everything off Wing Chun. It makes it easier for me to remember them.
Yeah. Well, I do the same. I mean, I remember the 1 counts, the 2 counts, the 4 counts, the 8 counts, the 7 counts, the 16 counts. How are you going to learn that in Thailand? I mean, they did a great job on putting the concepts of the probability of possibilities in training makes a great variety to teach from.
There was another statement on the website regarding Kali. You said it complements JKD for one important reason. Bruce Lee based Jeet Kune Do on a weapon system.
Weapon-based system, yes.
Do you think that realization is prominent in the JKD world?
I don't think maybe they do, but they don't physically push it. One thing is knowing that it is, but finding the similarities. I mean, we could do Junfan footwork with a single stick, forward and back, side to side, and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I truly believe. I mean, fencing. I mean, the history's there. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
It is a weapon. Even Guru Dan, I believe, says that it's a weapon-based system. Yeah.
Well, he and I had a conversation, and this was probably early to mid 90s, and it was the morning before the seminar. I was out running. He was walking, through the grounds of the hotel, and we fell into conversation. And I said, sometimes I feel guilty because I can explain JKD principles really well using Kali. He goes, don't worry about it. Because it's based off the sword. And I was like, I mean, because when you think about it, the historical thing about Jeet Kune Do, boxing, Wing Chun, and fencing. Well, what's the Spanish word for fencing? Eskrima.
Correct.
Right? So if we wanted to push it, we could say that Jeet Kune Do historically was based off boxing. Is there such a thing as Filipino boxing? Right? You know, Wing Chun and Eskrima.
Well, there you go. I mean, you just have to look at boxing. I mean, boxing comes from the Philippines, right? So you take out the knives and you got the same movement, you know?
Yeah.
You know, dirty boxing, Panantukan, Pananjakman. I mean, I believe he knew all that.
Yeah.
You know, and for him to use weapons, I guess that's the first thing he's going to grab too in a real situation.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's what I'm going to do. I don't want my blood on you or me, and I'm just going to grab a bottle.
Right.
or Dos Manos chair, one or the other. I'm not going to go empty hands. You know.
But one thing I wanted you to break down for me, when it says on the website that the arts that are taught in our MMA class, right? So we're talking about the phase 1 program. So it says Bruce Lee's JKD, Jun Fan, Filipino Kali, kickboxing, boxing, wrestling, Muay Thai, Savate, and grappling. If somebody reads that, they're going to make the mistake of thinking that these are all separate classes.
Correct. Correct. You'd need, you know, 15 days in a week to actually, you know, and people are going to choose. I mean, we've done so many things with our timetable in regards to that. Yeah. You have a JKD class, you have a wrestling class or a you know, boxing class, and people are going to pick and choose, and they're still not going to be well-rounded.
Right. Yeah.
So.
It says that 70% of the training is Jun Fan kickboxing, and the other 30 is the trapping, single stick and single knife, and what have you. But what's the essential structure behind the way you're doing it? Because I'm always intrigued by the different methods that my different JKD colleagues use to transmit their information to the students.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I treat it. I mean, all those writings that you see there, that's big influence from Roy Harris.
Okay.
He's made a lot of sense in the JKD world. You know how he's very vernacular, and
yes.
I believe he was the first guy to put the curriculum down for jiu-jitsu for people to understand with all types of body types, all morphology. Yeah. So. He did the same with the JKD, and that's why I say he was a big influence in the teaching part of what I do till this day. I mean, I still have conversations with Super Roy on a weekly, or sometimes every 2 weeks, or sometimes monthly. But we're in touch. Mm-hmm. But I treat it as ranges first. So there's kicking, punching, trapping, grappling, weaponry, and mass attack.
Okay.
So I teach it as a 6-module structure.
Got it. Yeah.
And every art's going to fit in one of those ranges.
Okay. I see.
You know, so and I don't plan a class. I have a curriculum guide, which people can see, a massive poster, which I require my students to have a requirement of the fundamentals.
Uh-huh.
And then I start branching out to the other areas, but I don't plan a class.
Really?
Yeah, I learned that from Super Paul.
Okay. So.
I have a guide.
Right.
I mean, you know your students. You know what they're good at. You know what they lack. You know when they're sore. You know when they're happy. You know when they had a hard day at work, or there's a death, or there's family problems, or whatever it is. I mean, you could sense that. That's the spiritual side, as some JKD guys call it.
Okay.
You walk in. Of course, we have our warm-ups, we have our fundamental training and so forth. But the night before could have been like last night. We had a kickboxing session for 1 hour, and then we had a jiu-jitsu night where you put your gi on after that for another hour. Mm-hmm. And majority of it is sparring and grinding it out. Mm-hmm. So tonight, to do that again,
right?
We're sort of in that safety zone. You know, you're going to get injured, and we try to kick into a different level. It might be self-defense tonight, you know.
Okay.
It might be knife. It might be sparring with weapons. You know, it might be pad work and working on skill sets.
Yeah.
So I've got to read the students and read the vibe. I'm in touch with them. It's like a garden, you know. You got to if you don't you know, nurture it, it's going to grow weeds. It's going to rot. It's going to die. You have to be in tune with every student. Every student's different too. So the task is, you're never going to please everyone. This is in seminars, I learned this big time, like since 2006 in Europe and doing it, you know, consistently. You know, you're never going to please everyone. You're going to have people saying you teach too quick, you teach too less, or you teach too fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's too much information. You're never going to please everyone. But if you can get people to learn something new, enjoy themselves, be happy, sweat it out, serotonin level goes, you're going to hit probably 99% of students. They're going to learn something and walk away happy.
Right.
Yeah.
What give me an idea. Somebody calls to get information about you guys, and you invite him down to the place. What goes on in that first visit?
Yeah, I interview every student personally.
Okay.
Yeah, hands-on. I don't talk price on the phone. I don't talk curriculum on the phone. I give them a warm welcoming that you can more than welcome, come in. I'll find some time where I can sit down with you, because everyone comes in for different needs.
Yeah.
And I sit down with them and answer all their questions as clearly as possible and give them a guideline of what we do. And they'll somehow fit in. Some people come for fitness, some people come in for self-esteem, self-confidence.
Yeah.
You know, self-defense is probably the key. No one comes in for jiu-jitsu or Kali.
Right.
Everyone comes in for Bruce. Everyone comes in for, you know, the JTV structure. Everyone,
Really?
I guess I'm known for that one. Yeah, and the funny thing is, and when they find out I've been grappling for 17 years and the jiu-jitsu with the gi, and that's on a good level, I should say, people go, why don't you just open up a jiu-jitsu school? I said, I don't want to open up a jiu-jitsu school. There's too many of them. It's like KFC.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Who was the first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Australia? Do you know?
I think the first two guys that started jiu-jitsu, if my history brain can kick in like Guru Dan, I think it would be John Will and Peter Devine. Okay.
Yeah.
John Will's a good friend of mine. So is Peter. I did train with John Will at the time, back in 2000. A lot of privates, a lot of grappling, a lot of gi. I needed a place to roll, you know, while I'm teaching my school. So during the day, you just go somewhere and you just roll.
When you were talking about the Machida seminar, where Bert was, where was that?
Yeah.
Was that in LA?
That was, California, Lomita.
Okay, so there's Machida. Okay, wait. So now I'm confused. Is there Machida karate in Melbourne itself, separate from you?
No, I'm the only one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm the Melbourne representative at the moment.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so then because I saw a picture on one of the many pages for you. Right?
Yeah.
So that's probably the California thing that I saw.
Yeah, that's in Cali. Yeah, you can tell the dojo is magnificent. It's fantastic.
It is a gorgeous thing.
Yeah.
How do because let's see. Somebody asked me a question once about Shotokan and Machida's representation of Shotokan in MMA, right? And I said, well, obviously what he's showing is that you can adapt your art. He's a perfect example of adapting your art to what MMA requires, right? How do they explain it? How do they explain, bringing Shotokan into MMA?
Yeah, look, I've had lengthy conversations with Sensei Lyoto and, of course, Sensei Chindo. The Shotokan, or let's call it Shotokan, because I mean it has that sort of flair.
Yeah.
It's great for kickboxing, for MMA because of distance.
How do you
In
mean?
and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. It's like fencing, in and out, in and out. You know, tag, snipe, be accurate. You know, be elusive. And if you look at Lyoto's movement, he has that movement. He has that the faking, the probing. Pretty much, I would say, pretty much like when Bruce was sparring. You know, he'd fake you, he'd probe you. He would go in depth to find out, you know, your weak points and so forth. And karate opens that up a little bit, I believe. I think.
I see.
Yeah, for MMA, for a long distance fighter, and I mean, getting into clinch and ground is easy. It will happen if you allow it.
Yeah.
The hardest thing is just to keep that guy away. Look at just, you know, Kron Gracie just on the weekend. I mean, the guy that we was fighting had a lot of, you know, kickboxing, 20 fights or something, and he couldn't keep the guy away. I mean, as soon as it clinched up, you're in his world now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the way, I mean, I've had lengthy conversations with Sensei Lyoto, and the time he was losing some of his fights, I believe, and he asked me a few things, which is sort of on a personal level.
Yeah.
I think as soon as you venture into Thai boxing, nothing wrong with Thai boxing. I can tell you what, you whop someone on the thigh, on the femur, and he doesn't walk anymore, you know, you'll complete him in a fight, right? In an MMA with rules.
Yeah. But
they want to bang, right? They want to get close. Whereas karate has that snipery range structure.
Okay. Yeah.
It's good for MMA. I mean, that's how I spar. I'm a kickboxer by trade. I mean, that's my bread and butter. You know, grappling's my second thing. So is Thai boxing.
Yeah.
Not saying it's not as good, but it's. I'm going to fight you from long range.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, that's where your distractions are going to be. Your zoning is going to be a little easier.
Yeah.
Your probing.
Yeah.
And he went back to that sort of style because he lost his way a little bit, I believe, in the Muay Thai and just the MMA world with all the people he trains with.
Right.
He went back to his roots, man, and I think that's the best thing he's ever done.
Yeah. I don't know. Sounds to me like you're talking a lot there about attribute development. I don't know.
Absolutely, man. You can know all the techniques in the world. If you don't work those attributes, you ain't gonna, you know. Yeah. I mean, look, clinch and ground. I do it all the time. But to get into clinch is not as hard as people think it is. But if you've got somebody that doesn't want to get in there and he's got a good long range structure,
yeah,
it's going to be tough.
Yeah. I watched you. In one of your videos is the JKD energy drills.
Ah, yes.
You look like you were having a tremendous time. You look like you were really enjoying that.
Yeah, that wasn't even planned. The students walked out, and that was, I believe, Adrian, with the Bruce Lee background, with that big poster. Is that the one?
Wait, wait. I'm trying to remember what was in the background. I don't think so. But I mean, you just went through. You know, you went through everything. You know, from the huba to the the wrist wrestling to
yes.
the bong the bong lapsa. But you look like
that was a fun filming. Yeah, that was just a little insert for energy drills, which was great. I mean, that's how it should be. You put it all together, and there was more we can put in. You know, your takedowns and your body pummels and your counters, and there's a lot of stuff. We've even done it in the guard. You could do all that stuff in the guard as well.
I saw part of that because you did it in the guard with the dagger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that.
And people don't realize, like, as soon as you pull a blade out, we all know it doesn't matter how good you are as a grappler.
Right. No. Yeah.
I mean, you got to know grappling too. So this is where people say, "Oh, you're putting down grappling." No, I'm not. I'm a grappler myself. I've been doing it for 17 years. I'm a brown belt 4-striper.
Right.
You know, gi and no gi. You know, I teach it. I know my stuff. But if you don't know your stuff, you shouldn't comment. You know, if you don't know your material, if you're not efficient at, let's say, jiu-jitsu, it's bad to say, "Oh, jiu-jitsu doesn't work if I pull a blade out, this, that." No, you need both. It's like when people bag kinumutai, biting and eye gouging.
Yeah.
You can't do that alone. You need jiu-jitsu to facilitate kinumutai.
Right. Yeah. I saw.
Yeah.
When did you do that interview for BJJ Eastern Europe?
Oh, that was a while back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I copped a lot of slack for that one.
Well, I was just going to ask you if you got yourself in trouble for that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I was talking to Sifu Roy at the time. I said, you know, I'm going to get interviewed. These are some of the questions, you know, and we sort of went back and forth with a few little things, and he gave me some insight on some stuff.
Yeah.
And he's straightforward too. He doesn't mind controversy, but we said it how it is.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I did cop a little before it. Yeah.
Okay.
All the jiu-jitsu, all the emotional martial artists jump on. all the guys that get emotional and choose the wrong words.
What are some other adjectives you would use to describe martial artists? We got emotional martial artists.
Yeah, keyboard warriors. You know, yeah. But keyboard warriors are the people that know everything about the UFC but have never been punched in the face.
Yeah, well, these are the ones that go, "Oh, well, Bruce Lee doesn't have a fight record, so you know, we shouldn't pay attention to it." Yeah, I love those guys.
Yeah. And you listen to Bruce talking on one of his phone recording, and he says, "Since I've been in America, I haven't backed out from a fight and never lost."
Right. Yeah. You know what I found today. Actually, and I found it, you know, because I was online looking for stuff on you, and I came across it is, they say it's the only recording of Bruce Lee speaking Cantonese.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, I don't know if it really is him. I mean, it sounds like it, but I don't know. Maybe everybody sounds the same when they're speaking Cantonese.
You gotta send it to me. I have a Cantonese student. I'm gonna tell him to translate it.
Okay, I'll send it to you as soon as we hang up here.
Yeah. I'll tell you exactly what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you working on now in terms of the school? Is there like plans for the school, or you exquisitely happy with where you're at and staying in the garage and what have you?
Well, we just finished filming. I believe you had Sifu Singh on your show.
Yeah.
We go way back with history, of course, but I just filmed a DVD last year, just before Christmas. Okay. We sent it out to the US. You probably know Val.
No.
He's the producer of, I believe, E Video, E3 Video.
Oh, okay. I know the organization. Yeah. I don't know him, no.
Yeah. Val's a legend in the karate world. He does all Singh's videos as well.
Okay, got it.
So I met him at the Machida seminar because he was doing Machida. He does the Machida videos.
Okay, I see.
And he asked me, "You should put something together, man. You know, you've got some great attributes and some history. Put something together. We'll do something." So that might be coming out this year sometime. So there's a DVD going on. So I might be doing more of those. That's one new thing for the academy.
Okay.
On another side of the academy, I would say what I'm working on. I'm trying to move away from this. I mean, we call it MMA, but I'm moving into just more development of teaching, more the development side. The violent side is always present,
right?
And trying to give back to society, I guess, and change people's lives a little more, because no one knows these days if it's good or bad, and there's so much out there. So I'm trying to develop the Bruce Lee MMA brand, so to speak, and for people to know how to benefit from it, to change their lives. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of life. It ain't kicking and punching is easy. So that's the new thing I'm going into. On a personal level, I'm trying to just keep myself. I mean, I'm a walking X-ray, man. You name a body part, I could give you an X-ray on it.
Wow, God.
Yeah, I recently got diagnosed with severe arthritis in my right ankle, which I, hate because I love running.
Yeah.
I'm a big David Goggins fan.
Oh, that guy's a nut.
Yeah.
He's a good nut.
He's a good nut. As soon as I see him, I'm thinking, what am I complaining about?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It gets me going.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. From that recording I told you, right? I thought, I have no idea what he's saying, but I think I might start listening to this every morning. Right?
Yeah.
Because there's some people who were just so. I'll tell, and then you tell me you. So if I listen to the Bruce Lee interview with Pierre Berton, that's extremely motivational for me. If I listen to Cass Magda being interviewed by World of Martial Arts Television, extremely motivational for me. Who does that for you in the martial art world?
That's a great question, man. There is, over the years, there've been so many people that you look up to, and you can't be like them, but you can get close on mimicking and finding their attributes, and you get close. You can't be exact, but you can get close. Mm-hmm. I said this on one of my videos recently, because people ask me this a lot. It's what motivates me and who motivates me.
Right.
It's a great question. I'll be honest with you. This ain't like an ego thing.
Yeah.
None of them do.
I
don't need Guru Dan or Paul Bunak or any of the UFC fighters or David Goggins. I mean, I just like what he stands for. It's not like I get motivated. Oh my God, I got to do more because of this guy, and I got to be like this guy, and this guy did this much.
Right. There's
something that I'm researching at the moment. Maybe with Sifu Singh, we can get really close to it. Mm-hmm. There's this mechanism, this DNA in me. My father said it once, and this is what I can relate it to.
Yeah.
I never knew why I trained so much. No one pushed me or motivated me to train since I was a kid. I did it because I wanted to do it, and I never missed a lesson. And I trained hard. We're talking, there were 3-hour sessions at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And my dad used to say, "You're born in the wrong era." Now, what I feel right now is why I train so hard is when you die, when you go, we don't know what it is. It could be extraterrestrial, it could be spiritual movement to another body, it could be whatever.
Yeah.
But we all know this religious background, there's a evil and goodness, and there's a fight somewhere, and we're fighting this evil, and certain people are going to think you're smoking something when you talk to them this way. But when I leave this earth and there's a fight somewhere for good and evil, let's talk angels. I think Eric Paulson will jump on this one as well. Let's talk angels.
Yeah.
Let's talk angels. If we go upstairs and God, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, whatever it is, it's the creator, right? if he gives me the robe and the nice grass and the nice vines and we sit there and we relax, I'm going to get upset. I'm going to say to him, listen, I trained so hard on earth. My bones are all x-rayed. I've got arthritis. I train this Filipino stuff. I go full contact. I go into this killer instinct mode. I'm not a fairy. I've been in brawls. I've been in fights. I've competed all my life.
Yeah.
And you're going to give me the robe? Ain't gonna happen. Give me the shield. Give me the sword. Give me the wings.
Yeah.
And put me in the front line with Archangel Michael.
There you go. Yeah.
And let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Or just send me back and let me repeat it. You got me? Yeah. So when I train, I try to train 150%, and I train to make sure that I don't disappoint that higher power if I'm needed.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's more of a spiritual, internal, personal feeling that drives me.
I would love to be a fly on the wall overhearing a conversation between you and Sifu Singh. Right?
We're going to organize it. He asked me to come down this year sometime to be in his video, so I might take that on.
Yeah, I can because when I did it, I don't know if you watched the dialogue episode
I did.
with him.
Yeah, I watched his. I watched Nick. I support all the brothers, man. It's I watched it.
Singh he's phenomenal. There's just something energetically about him that really resonated, with me.
Yeah. He's one of a kind, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we spoke not long ago on the phone. I think it was like a 3-hour session. We just talked about all sorts of things and our history and what we went through and so forth. But he's in touch with a lot of his internal possessions, so to speak. Yeah.
And that's why, like I say this on almost every episode of the dialogue, but that's why I'm doing this, because I think we have some of the most fantastic people in the JKD world.
Yeah, I think we explore a little more. I believe. I think we were the first to jump into all these different tournaments over the years, and we don't mind it. It's just exploring and finding about, being in that I think, as Bruce says, that moment. When I'm teaching military and police, it's the same thing. This is why Sifu Singh and I have that similar structure. It's you can't think what you're going to do. It's not going to happen. You have to be present. You have to be in that moment of time to make sure that you choose the right answer, and you can't think. Mm-hmm. You're behind. You're in the past, so to speak. So that's really deep. For some people, they just want to come and train. They don't think of that moment, and that's why I say developing the human is probably the way to go, I believe, to get them to understand themselves a little bit, because punching and kicking is just physically. It's just a physical thing.
Yeah.
You got to get into your discipline, the mental, and then kick into the emotional. I see a lot of people break in the emotional areas. I've seen guys in my academy that will cry through pressure.
Right.
I'll put them through pressure, and the grown men will cry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they're not used to dealing with pressure, answering questions in pressured moments, and that's what life's going to give you. Outside of the academy.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the greatest gifts, that martial art delivers. I find, and sometimes it's lost in favor of the physical aspect. But as you say, the physical aspect, that's not, that comes and goes, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You turn 47 like me. I feel it, but
and then there's a man who turns 83.
Yeah, well, that's what gives us that keep moving. Yeah, it's still going.
Yeah.
Still going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the emotional part is the key to reach, you know, and then kick spiritual. I mean, spiritual is just the goal, what you've reached, and you repeat the process. You know, like you say, learn, practice, master, functionalize, maintain.
Yeah. Hey, did you hear me say that in the broadcast earlier today, or did you just come up with that?
Which one was that?
No, the learn, practice, functionalize, master. That's exactly what I talked about today.
Oh wow! No, I got it in '99. Yeah. It's like Sifu Paul. That was his. He said to me, "You got to learn, you got to practice, you got to master, and then everyone maintains." And then I said, "Well, what's the fourth one?" He says, "This is where you got to drop the pom poms down, and you got to spar, and you got to see if it's functional, and if it works, pick that worked and maintain it in a drill."
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's really these concepts are the cornerstone of what we do, and I believe with every JPD guy, they're the cornerstone of the martial art. I believe those little concepts and philosophies and the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. I mean, I've read that thing so many times. Every time I read it, it's like a brand new book.
I know. Yeah.
It's weird, right? It's like, man, now I understand it. It's like, well, why couldn't I understand it 10 years ago?
Yep.
You got to discover it, right?
Yeah.
You discover it, you feel like a genius for 5 minutes, and you move on because you know that everyone's already got it. But it's a cool feel for a moment.
All right.
Yeah.
So listen. Okay. So let's wrap this up. Where is the best place to get a hold of you? If somebody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to do that?
You can jump on our website, which is www.okamiacademy.com.
Okay.
Facebook, the connections are there. You can jump on Facebook and look for my personal name, or just look for Okami. The connections are there on the website.
All right.
You can find me there.
Yeah.
You can email me, you can call me, you can visit. The address is there. There's nothing hidden. There's none of this come through, hidden monkey style that you have to, send a pigeon over with, smoke and. You can rock up. You can just rock up. You probably won't train, but you can rock up, and I'll chat with you and
there you go.
Tell you to make an appointment with me and see me.
Yeah.
We close the door as soon as we start training.
Really?
Oh yeah, we close the doors. We don't allow anybody to watch.
Okay. So there's no
That's something you did
or what have you.
No. It's pretty tough to find me just like that. People sort of look at a home and go, "Is this the place?"
Yeah.
I mean, we have all the stickers and stuff at the front, but no, we've sort of kept it sort of like, I like to keep it original, like the old school of Bruce's school. All the windows are painted red or whatever, and no one could see in, and you need that special invitation. And it is special. The place is special. People think of it as a second home. And for me, you find me, you can come in. I will take time to talk to you. I will, tell a student to take class. Yeah. They're efficient. They'll train. And I'll have a chat with you and say, if you want a lengthier chat, you can come and book me in. It's for free.
Yeah.
And then I will, introduce you to everyone, and you can train. And then if you don't like it, you can go to the $3. You can go to the $3 class across the road.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, man, this has been a pleasure. I really enjoyed meeting you.
Well, you too, man. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to actually, voice a little bit of our journey. I mean, we could go on as a lineage from 79 to now, but it'd take too long, and too many names to mention, and too many arts and too many injuries.
There's always a part two.
Yeah, there's always a part two. Maybe we can do a tandem with Singh.
That's possible. Yeah, we could. For sure.
We could do a group. We could do a group thing on this thing. I feel bad that it didn't work before. The live thing didn't work, but
it is what it is, right? But yeah, if you are gonna go out and see him, maybe we could hook that up, as they say. Yeah.
We could be in the same room. I guess it'd be easier.
Right. All right, Robert.
It's all good.
Okay, man.
All right, man.
All right. Enjoy the rest
Peace
of the day.
out. Thank you again.
All righty.
Ciao.
Bye.
Okay, that was episode 49 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with Robert Parmakovsky. Hope you guys enjoyed meeting and getting to know him.